welcome to GGKCS, a multi-generational podcast / FlossTube for fans of all things knitting, cross-stitch, and geeky. I'm Cece. I'm so glad you're here today. Today is Saturday, the 16th of April, 2022, and this is episode 483. I'd like to say a big welcome back. Love y'all to all returning viewers and a big hi to any new viewers. Thanks for giving us a shot. Hope you enjoy the show. Do I have any announcements? Happy Easter. I think that's about it. But I have quite a few things to talk to you about today. Obviously, there's a big box on my desk. Do you see some finished socks there? All kinds of fun things. So we probably should get started. Here we go. All right, we're going to talk about what is on my needles. First up in my kitty cat bag from Little Fish Stitches, I am working on a pair of birthday socks for my bestie's oldest son, Noah. This is my French vanilla cappuccino sock pattern, and you can get that at javapearldesigns.com. And as always, everything we talk about in the podcast is on our show notes at ggkcs.com. I'm using US 1.5, 2.5 mil needles, and I'm using Knit Picks Felici in the Bookshop colorway. And I am almost to the heel. I love this colorway. It's so beautiful. Yeah, so I think maybe one more stripe of color and I'll be ready to do the heel. And yeah, so making progress on those. Thankfully, at this point, Noah's feet are nowhere near as large as his father's. So these will be a much faster knit than the ones that I did for his dad that I'm going to show you in just a couple minutes. Okay. The other thing on the needles is my continuing project in my maker bag from Nerdbird Makery. I am doing the Dust of Snow wrap by Helen Stewart, Curious Handmade. That's the design. I'm using US 6's 4 mil needles, and I'm using lots and lots of different colors of yarn, 24 total. And I am on color 8. So yeah, color 8. I'm getting close to the end of color 8. So this section is not a lace section because I just did a lace section the previous one. The color I'm using right now is Arctic Yarn by Abby in the Sugar Skull colorway. I think it's a patterning one, but obviously I'm not knitting in socks, so we're just getting the beautiful colors. So there is my progress so far. And I have finished week 15 of this. I'm knitting 12 rows a week on it so that it will be done by the end of the year. And I'm over 30% done, but not 35%. So yeah, just a couple of rows a day on that. It's a nice little rhythm, a nice little reward at the end of the day after work to knit a couple rows on that and just watch it, watch the beauty grow and watch the colors come together. And it's so lovely. So I'm really, really enjoying knitting that up. So, alrighty, well, like I said, I have some FOs, so let's move on to the next segment. All right, let's talk about some knitted FOs. So since I talked to you last, I finished Preemie Hats 14 and 15 for the year. This is from my free top-down Preemie Hat pattern that you can get on our website, javapearldesigns.com. I use US 6's 4 mil needles. And I'm trying to remember which one is which. Okay, this one is number 14. And I used Into the World Picaco Sock in the Bigger on the Inside colorway, Dreaming Color Smooshy in the Melon Bomb colorway, and Barocco Vintage DK in the Cracked Pepper colorway. I think it turned out really pretty. And then number 15 is Sweet Georgia Yarn Tough Love Sock in the Magician colorway, and Fully Spun Postscript Fingering in the Intersex Pride colorway. So I love seeing the colors come together. I never know what it's going to look like mixing and matching yarns, and yeah, I love seeing them come together. So 14 and 15 for the year. And then, like I have been alluding to, here is a ginormous pair of socks that have not been blocked yet, but I'm showing y'all anyway. Can't even get them in the screen. How about, there we go. Let's go that way. This is socks for my bestie's husband, Jeremy. Again, these are my French vanilla cappuccino sock pattern you can get at javapearldesigns.com on US 1.5, 2.5 mil needles. And the yarn is Knit Picks Felici in the Vampire Vibes colorway. So these, I know I've mentioned this before, but I'll tell you again. These sock blockers are actually meant for like my size, Danny size, Katie size of socks, like a women's like 7 to 9. But I learned if I use the leg for the foot of Jeremy's socks, it's not quite a perfect fit, but it does give it just enough structure for photographing it and blocking it. So there are Jeremy's socks, and I will wait till I finish Noah's socks that I've started now and send both of them together at the same time. So there is a ginormous pair of socks. 1 pair a year, that's all he gets. And he's very grateful and loves them, as does the entire family. The youngest, Izzy, is the one that coined these CC socks. So they will always and forever be known as CC socks. So, alrighty, well that was 3 FOs. I also have a cross stitch FO. So let's move on to the next segment and I will show you that one. And now it's time for FlossTube. First up, my FO. It's very tiny. Oops, that's the backside. There we go. So as y'all know, I am cross stitching an ornament every month for to be able to use to decorate for Christmas. This pattern is Heart Tree from JBW Designs. Judy Whitman is the designer. I did this on 14 count Mill Hill perforated paper in the white colorway, and I used Sulky floss, and it was a dream. I used Sulky 0035. I think it turned out beautifully, and it only took me a couple days to stitch this up, and it was not the only thing I crafted that day. So this one was a fast little stitch, and I loved how it turned out, and I am in love with that Sulky floss. Oh my goodness, it's so amazing. So there is a cross stitch FO. Non-FOs, let's dive into those here in my Humans with Cat Heads project bag from the 805 Stitcher. I am stitching on, I've modified the pattern. This is Kitten in a Pumpkin by Sweet Anna Paviuk. So I am only stitching the pumpkin and the cat and the pumpkin lid. To be able to put it into the scissor fob that came in the trick-or-treat box last year from the Black Needle Society. I am really struggling with this because in order to make it fit, it is being stitched on 32 count gray basalt and white splash Lugana. One thing, I stitch on Ada or even weave. Another thing, 28 count is my highest count. This one is rough, but here's where I'm at. I've gotten more than half of the pumpkin done. I'm using mostly called for DMC flosses. I had to adjust a couple, I think 2 or 3, just based on what I had in my stash, but yeah. And that needle minder I see Thread People is also from Trick or Treat box last year from the Black Needle Society. So this one's a tough one for me because it's my eyes are struggling to see it, and I'm stitching over 1 on 32 count, and I'm stitching on Lugana. All of those things combined make it a very rough stitch for me, but I'm attempting to persevere. It's not the most beautiful thing I've ever done, but I'm trying. All right, next up in my to bed or to sleep project bag from that's an Outlander themed project bag that I had made for me by Stitch Toolbox. I am stitching Modern Folk Embroideries The River. My modification is I took this bottom piece, and instead of the letters and numbers, I flipped this so it would be mirrored on the top and bottom. I am stitching this on Still City Stitcher's 16 count Ada in the Crimson Peak colorway. And I'm stitching with Forbidden Fiber Co. in the River of Life colorway. And here's where I'm at. So I finished that flower down there. So I did the math, and if I do 185 stitches a week on this, I'll have it finished by the end of the year. And everything for this project, other than the project bag, was from a Black Needle Society box. And I'm just loving it. I'm loving it. This is my first time to stitch something like this, and it's turning out lovely. So I will continue my happy little 185 stitches a week on that, and I'll have it done by the end of the year. How it will get finished, I don't know, like fully finished, but we'll tackle that when we get to it. And then finally, in my Winnie the Pooh project bag from Knit Run Dig, I am working on Edinburgh Castle by Terra Luna Stitchery. And everything I'm using for this project is in the show notes, ggkcs.com. I am stitching on this most days 25 minutes a day for 25/7, which is a thing where you focus on a project and either stitch 25 stitches or 25 minutes a day on it. And here is where I am at. So I'm going to have to move my Q-snap very soon because I am butting up right against the fabric here where it's rolled, because this is a massive piece. With stitching only one or sometimes two colors in a day, I can get around 150 stitches done in about 25-ish minutes. Since I showed you this last, I am now at 61,470 stitches complete out of 265,824. And this is 23.124% complete. And I think I'm remembering right that this column right here is the end of the next page. So, no, wait, hold on. I think there's a page break like right around here, and then I think there's another page break over here. I don't know. I'm nearing another page done. Sorry, y'all, I need more coffee. I have not gone to get my free Starbucks yet this morning. But making progress, and very soon I'm going to be out of just these colors and having to use multiple colors in a day, and that's definitely going to slow down my progress. My friend Athena did the math, and if it's correct, I'll have done 365 days in a row 2 weeks from today. $365 days in a row on this project. And I plan to continue. I am potentially going to have to take a little bit of time off on it because I'm traveling, and it's not a good travel project. So there might be a vacation break later this year. But I'm okay with that. With the progress that I'm making on this, I am thrilled, and yeah. All right, well, it's time to move on to the next segment. There is cross-stitch content coming up, so you should definitely stick around. And then I want to say stitch around. You can stitch around as well, but stick around. All right. And now it's time for our favorite part of the show, yummies. Yummies are our current favorite things we like, things we want to talk to you about, yummies. First up, look at my brand new Fable band. It's called Silly Old Bear, and it's Winnie the Pooh, and I love it so much because you can totally wear headbands with short hair. There we go. I adore Fable bands. They don't slip off my head. They're very comfortable to wear all day long, and I highly recommend them. I will put a link in the show notes. This one is the faux knot style, but they have other styles as well, including like scrunchies if you have long hair. So, Silly Old Bear Fable band. Okay, Next up, if you may have seen on my social media that I started a challenge 3 days ago. I'm barely into it. It's a 100-day challenge, and it is from the company Wool, and I will put a link in the show notes. And they make clothing that is primarily wool content. And their 100-day challenge is if you wear the same dress that you've purchased from them 100 days in a row, you get a $100 gift card from them. They don't care how you style it. They don't care about you wear it how you want to wear it. At least 8 hours a day. You have to take a photo every day and share, or you could share on social media or however you want to do it. You get 5 days of grace of not sharing a photo. You still have to wear the dress. So I am still just in the very early days of playing with it and figuring it out. I am wearing the Camilla tank long in black, obviously. It's about knee length on me, and it has pocketses. And especially with upcoming travel, I'm very excited to have a piece that can be styled numerous ways, which makes less things that I have to pack. If you want to follow along, I won't be posting every day's photo to my regular social media, but if you want to follow me on Instagram at c.c.gilmore, Gilmore, I'm posting my photo every day over there of how I am wearing the dress that day. So 100-day challenge, this is day 3. I've not taken my photo yet. I will and get it posted. And some people were like, I don't know, like it's going to get hot. How are you wearing wool? So this one is, I believe it's 78% wool. And the rest, what is that, like 22% nylon. This is soft as all get out. It's very lightweight, and it does not feel like wool at all. So the reason I went with the sleeveless is because it's going to get warm. I'm like, I can wear it, just wear it as is. I could put, like a tank under it. So there's lots of different ways to play with it. And yeah, I am super excited about this 100-day challenge. So, all right, final thing. Elephant in the room here, this giant box from the Black Needle Society. This was a special edition box, Novels and Needles Murder Mystery. And next weekend we are having a online retreat to solve the murder. I did an unboxing of this on YouTube where I spent time with every single item and read you all the details and all that. I'm not going to do that here. You can go watch it there, but I will just kind of walk you through what came in the box. We have this beautifully giant project bag that's a special investigation file that came with like statements and receipts and thinking of you, murderer. So this will definitely help us in solving the murder that happened at a cross-stitch show. Okay, here in the evidence bag we have You've Just Been Poisoned, wooden spoon. We have this one I love, Mrs. McCarthy's award-winning strawberry scone mix from Carrie Lee. Mrs. McCarthy is from the Father Brown series, and the actress that plays her in real life, her name is Sorsha, and I really want to adopt a cat and name her Sorsha. And then we also have, to go with that, the Jocelyn & Co. Sweet Strawberry Preserves. Unfortunately, it's not gluten-free, so Dammy is going to get that, and they're very excited. We have the Wishwick Candle Co. Each of us got, I think there were 6 different candles, and it was just random who got what. I got Professor Plum. This is from Clue. And it is black raspberry, burgundy rose, dark vanilla bean, toasted marshmallows, and smoldering woods. And it smells amazing. Amazing. Okay, let's see here. We have, these are fabric detection service cards where you can put the dyer, the name, the count, the cut size, what cuts you've made, with what we in the knitting world call blocking stitch markers, to attach it to your fabric, which I really like, especially if a dyer like puts their fabric in a plastic bag with the fabric type on it, and then I don't necessarily want to keep it in a plastic bag. We got an evidence bag. It had stuff in it. I had to cut it open to get to it because I just did. We got these adorable floss drops with quotes from different mystery writers on them, and let's see. This one is from Agatha Christie, Miss Marple. There's no detective in England equal to a spinster lady of uncertain age with plenty of time on her hands. So those are super fun floss drops. We got our, well, I'll show this next because it magnetized to it. We got floss jewelry inspired by Sherlock. We got our needle minder. The impossible could not have happened. Therefore, the impossible must be possible in spite of appearances. It's an Agatha Christie quote. Super cute needle minder. Remember that image because it's going to come back in a few minutes. We got these Stitch Me silks. They're 10 yards a piece. This is poinsettia. This is red velvet, and this is wine. So pretty. So, so pretty. We got, that goes with that. This is what I need right here. Like I was saying, where the fabric dyer has put a label on the thing, so I will use one of those cards. Hold on, I need another piece of the pie here to show you. Okay, so we got an invisible ink pen with the light in it. Okay, so here's this fabric. This is 16 count Aida, dyed by Jody of Steel City Stitchers, and it's the colorway is Evidence 01002199. Let's see, I'm gonna see if I can show y'all. Hold on, let me find it first so I can think. I need to go to this end. There we go. Can you see the blood spatter? How cool is that? That was a clue. That was a clue in the murder mystery. And the last thing, remember I said, remember that quote? The impossible could not have happened, therefore the impossible must be possible in spite of appearances. So this was originally designed like this, and the artist is Kristen De Palma of KDP Letter Designs, and then Katie Landis of Black Needle Society charted it into a cross-stitch pattern. It is 144 by 224. 2 strands of floss over 2 threads. If you're doing it on like a 28 count or whatever, my fabric was 16 count Aida, so it would be over 1. 2 strands over 1, and it's all DMC flosses. So that was the Black Needle Society murder mystery box. I'm very excited for the retreat next weekend so that we can solve the murder. And I purchased this particular box. However, I am a rep for the Black Needle Society, and I do get some boxes for free. I am able to give to y'all a 5% discount code with the code JavaPearl5, JAVAPURL, and the number 5. That gives you 5% off in their vault, which is where they put items for previous subscription boxes that were extras. Typically, they put them items into the vault on the 1st of the following month. So if they hold true to that, this stuff will be in the vault on May 1st, whatever is left over. Also currently available is the Trick or the Treat box. They're doing 2 Halloween themed boxes this year. They're not going to be the 31-day countdown boxes. It'll just be like boxes like this. The Trick theme is Athena's Little Box of Horrors that focuses on the works of Stephen King. And the Treat box is Happy Halloween theme, and it will feature cute and family-friendly Halloween items. TheBlackNeedleSociety.com. And also, look, my bookmark that I stitched is being spotlighted. So, All right, that is all that I have for yummies this week. So let me clean this up, and then we're going to move on to the next segment. And now let's talk about what we're reading, watching, and listening to. A reminder about our 2022 RAL read along. It's a challenge for you to read 15 minutes a day every day. I don't care what you're reading, as long as you're reading. Audiobooks do count. By participating in the seasonal RALs, which right now we're in April, May, and June, you earn entries into the year-long challenge. And at the beginning of 2023, we will draw for 3 grand prize winners. The place to enter is in our Facebook group. Okay, let's see some of what I'm reading. I kind of set aside How to Heal Yourself When No One Else Can by Amy Shire, because I started reading, as I talked about last time, Come As You Are by Emily Nagoski, which is a fantastic book. Highly, highly recommend it. I listened to the book for my Unashamed Love Collective book club, titled I Have Something to Tell You by Chasten Buttigieg. Who he is the partner to, I don't remember his husband's name, but his husband is in politics and actually ran for president. So it was definitely an interesting listen to a memoir about his coming up, about Chasten coming up, growing up, and coming out, and what life looked like, as well as it talks a lot about the just abhorrent way that healthcare and medical debt and student loans are dealt with in the U.S. So I'm almost done with Inward by Young Pueblo, reading a poem or a quote or whatever every night. And I think by the time I record again, I think I'll be done with it. I think so. And then I will start on his second book. Also continuing to read and write in Get Untamed the Journal by Glennon Doyle. All right, here is a lot of fiction for you. I won't say that because it's not true. Okay, I finished reading the 13th book in the Ruth Galloway series by Ellie Griffiths, The Nighthawks. This is set in the UK, and she's an archaeologist that helps the police solve crimes. I finished reading book 16 in the Duncan Kincaid and Gemma James series by Deborah Crombie, To Dwell in Darkness. This is also set in the UK, and it is a detective mystery book. I read books 1 and 2 in the Wild Winchester series by Erica Ridley. The first one was The Duke Heist, and the second one was The Perks of Loving a Wallflower. I had come across an article somewhere, I don't even remember where, about LGBTQ books that had LGBTQ stories. I think they were all fiction books, if I'm remembering correctly. And book 2, the relationship is a queer relationship, but I read book 1 so that I could get to know the characters before I got into book 2. I picked back up after the question that we had in last time's podcast about knitting books, not only like Stitchionaries and reference books, but also fiction. And somebody brought up the Vampire Knitting Club series by Nancy Warren, which I had started and then for some reason stopped. So I listened to both books 4 and 5, Stockings and Spells and Pearls and Potions. I'm waiting for book 6 to become available. And it is set in a knitting shop in the UK. Do you sense a theme here? A lot of what I read is set in the UK. And there's vampires and there's knitting. So another book from that list of LGBTQ books that I wanted to read was in the Runaway Royals series by Alyssa Cole, I've read some other Alyssa Cole books before, and actually it was the same thing. Book 2 is a book that had the queer relationship, but book 1 was How to Catch a Queen, and book 2 is How to Find a Princess. Another queer series, the entire series is queer relationships, is the Garnet Run series by Rowan Parrish. And I had read book 1, and then I never read any more. So I finished reading book 2, which is Best Laid Plans. And I'm reading book 3, The Lights on Knockbridge Lane. And it's set in a small town. And I'm enjoying this series. And then TV and books make me cry, okay? But I have not cried reading a book in the way I did with this one in a while. In fact, I was reading in bed, lights are out, and I'm just like crying, reading, and Pink got very concerned and came over and was like patting me. It was like, it's okay, Mama, it's okay. The book is The Book Woman of Troublesome Creek by Kim Michelle Richardson. Set in rural, I believe it was Kentucky. And it's about this woman who is a librarian that travels into the hills taking books to her patrons. But she has a genetic disease that makes her skin appear blue. And so she and other people with this genetic disease are treated in very much the same way as people with colored skin, whatever color skin it is, whether it's black, brown, whatever. It's very racist because her skin is blue. And it was a very, very interesting read. And the end of the book, she talks about the actual history of this disease and about these librarians that travel through the hills taking books to their patrons. And it was a really, really good book. And I definitely cried, and Pink was very concerned. What I'm watching, Law and Order Special Victims Unit, season 23, as well as episodes for the That's Messed Up in SVU podcast. I'm rewatching season 3 of Gilmore Girls with the I Am All In with Scott Patterson podcast. Outlander season 6 is here, y'all. And whew, that last episode. Whew. I guess it's a good thing we have this week off from a new episode, because that last episode, yeah. Murdoch Mysteries, I finished season 15 and it ended on a big cliffhanger. So now we have to wait for season 16 to come around. NCIS season 19, listening to my favorite murder podcast, other podcasts that are slipping my mind right now, as well as random playlist. So that is some of what I have been reading, watching, and listening to. So let's move on to the next segment. And then let's talk about the March, April, May Sheepy Spring Owl. So this started on the 1st of March and it runs through the 31st of May. It's for any project you knit, crochet, weave, spin, stitch, or sew that you can convince us is related to spring. All the details of how to participate are in the show notes at ggkcs.com, and you enter in our Facebook group. There was links to that in the show notes. I go through all the rules and everything in detail on the first podcast of the month, which was last time. We do want to say a huge thank you to those who donated prizes for this along. You're seeing those on the screen right now. You can hear more about them on the first podcast of the month, as well as see them in the show notes. We will draw for winners the beginning of June and announce those winners on the next podcast after that. And people who have finished projects since we talked last are Brittany M., Emily R., and Jane S. Great job, y'all. Keep working on those projects. Get them posted. You have about a month and a half to get your projects done and posted, and you might be a winner. All right, let's move on to the next segment. And now it's time for Ask the Geeks, the part of the show where you ask us questions and we try to answer them. This week's question is from Debbie. She said, You recently went through a huge change in your life. Yes. While transitions can be joyful and for the best eventually, do you feel depressed and stressed by the magnitude of the change? Even though your change may be for the best and you made the right decision for you, I find any change has a dark side, which sometimes takes a very long time to heal and resolve itself. It is brave to make such a change. That you speak very much the truth, Debbie. This was the best choice for me. If you're new here, I left a marriage to a man and got divorced after being married for 24 years and came out as a lesbian. So that happened. I moved out about 14 months ago. And the divorce was finalized in September of last year. So, it was a huge life change. And as I said, yes, it was positive. It was a positive change that I needed to make for myself. But there also has been a lot of times of depression and stress and anxiety. I haven't talked a whole lot publicly about that. I have a little bit, but you know, I had lived for half my life, more than half my life, in that relationship, and there's so much truth to the body keeps the score. And so when it hit that 1 year mark of me leaving, my body didn't understand what my mind knew. And I had a very, very difficult time. And I'm trying to decide how much I want to share here, y'all. It was a very dark time. And I ended up having to take quite a lot of time off of work. I was extremely grateful for my therapist, who walked with me through that and helped me realize the actions that my body was taking and feeling was not where I was anymore. And I'm safe now, and I'm healing now, but the body remembers things. So there are still good days, there are still really bad days, and you know, I'm very new in this journey of being true to who I am after, 43. I was 43 when I came out publicly. And that is a long time. That was 43 years of living very differently from who I know myself to be now. And so I'm working on things. I still see a therapist. I have a very good book club that has turned into a family for me, that has walked with me on this journey. I have some very dear friends that have walked with me on this journey and who are helping me. Dammy has been my rock, my heart, and I'm so grateful for who they are and the example they set for me and being true to who they are. And the hard days aren't over, but I know that I am so much happier, and my life is in a much better place now for having had the bravery and the ability to walk away from what was not serving me into being who I know I am. So, yeah. And, you know, some things I am not going to share publicly. There is information that, that I don't want out there publicly. There's other people, you know, I'm only one person in this story. And so, I am doing my best to be respectful in not sharing the story out there to the world. There are people that know the whole story and are supporting me through this. But that's the level I'm comfortable with sharing on something that is going to be publicly out in the world for anyone to watch. So I hope I wasn't talking around in circles. It's never easy making a big change in your life, even if that change is what needs to happen and is for the best. So, you know, I'm just keep moving on one day at a time. Sometimes it's 1 minute at a time. Sometimes it's 1 second at a time. But I know that being true to who I am is the best thing for me. So thank you so much for that question, Debbie. I know I talked around in circles, but I hope that was, I hope that answered the question. And yeah, thank you for sharing, and thank you for being open to hear my words. And yeah, I appreciate y'all so much. So grateful for the community around this podcast, FlossTube, and for the people that have come into my life because of that hobby that I picked up. Knitting in 2005, cross stitch I learned as a kid and then set it aside when I started knitting, and now it's back in my life. And I'm just so thankful for the community that I have around these ways of being creative and being able to share that joy with y'all, and also knowing that this is something that's healing for me as well. So if you have a question for us, you can post it in the Ask the Geeks thread in the Facebook group. You can post it as a YouTube comment, which is what Debbie did. You can send it to us at GGKCS podcast@gmail.com. You can send it to me in a DM on Instagram. Thus far, there has not been a question we've not been willing to answer. Thank you again, Debbie, for the question. So, all right, let's move on to the next segment. And with that, we made it to the end of the show. Thank you for joining me today. I'm so grateful for each of you. Announcements. I already told y'all about my rep code with the Black Needle Society. We are continuing to co-host the Pride Along that started last year and ends the end of June this year. There's a YouTube video in our show notes, ggkcs.com, that explains it. Our hashtag is hashtag GGKCS Pride Along 2122. We are so grateful for each of you who supports our podcast, no matter how it is you support us. We are just grateful that you are part of our community, and we love each and every one of you. If you would like to help support us financially, which primarily goes to shipping out prizes and technology behind the scenes, there are several ways you can do that. There's Patreon, which you can find out more and sign up at patreon.com/GGKCS. There's YouTube Join. Click the join button under any of our YouTube videos. There's a PayPal button in the sidebar of our show notes if you'd like to make a one-time donation. We're bookshop.org affiliates, where you can help support local independent bookstores, as well as supporting the podcast. And we are amazon.com.co.uk and .ca affiliates. There are links for Amazon in our show notes, ggkcs.com. You can find us online at ggkcs.com. There you'll find links to everywhere else we are online. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, our Facebook group, Apple Podcasts, all the places. I'm sure I'm forgetting some. All the links are there at ggkcs.com. And with that, I'm going to tell you goodbye. I hope you have a lovely rest of your weekend. Happy Easter to those who celebrate. And until we're together again, happy crafting, and I'll talk to you again soon. Pinky, what you doing? Hello. Oh, you coming to say hi? Oh my goodness, here comes the vicious beast. Oh no, he's gonna get me. Oh, kisses. 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 Oh, thank you. You have anything else to say? Is Mama Chair vibrating? Does it feel good?